Deep Dive, where emotions meet the stars and spirituality takes center stage. Join Sherianna Boyle and Carmen Schott as they explore astrology, mental health, manifesting, and so much more. Two women on a spiritual path, sharing wisdom, stories, and the magic of sisterhood. Ready to dive deep? Let's begin.
Ready to manifest your dreams? Carmen and Sherianna invite you to take a deep dive. Join this dynamic duo twice a month for guided manifesting practices and personalized astrological insights from Carmen. Don't miss this chance to align with the energy of the new moon. Visit sheriannaboyle.com/newmoonmanifesting to learn more and sign up today.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Deep Dive. I'm Sherianna Boyle.
And I'm Carmen Schott.
And we're super excited to be here. This is a new show on KMET Radio. We're going to be with you every single Sunday, 8:30 a.m. I almost said p.m. 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, which is 11:30 Eastern time. And Carmen, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Carmen Schott. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and a psychological astrologer. I've written about 11 books on astrology, and I just think astrology is a tool for healing and self-awareness.
Yeah, and I'm Sherianna Boyle. I've also written 11 books. Carmen and I have actually been working together for a couple years now. She's been on my show. I have another show on KMET Radio called Just Us Spirit. And Carmen's been one of my, my special guests, and now is my friend. And we wanted to come and do this do the show jointly, Deep dive, and really take a deeper dive into other conversations. But each week, Carmen, you're going to kick off the show with an astrology update. Yes. And then we'll take a deep dive into some topics that I know that you're going to relate to. So why don't you get us started?
Sure. So for the first week of March, that's where we're at here. It's the month of Aries energy, it's Pisces Aries energy going on. We have Venus in Aries retrograde this week. We have the moon in Aries the first week of March, and Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So they're all about new beginnings, fresh starts, taking risks, making decisions, taking action, lots of powerful, passionate energy of optimism. They're motivated. So we're going to feel this motivated kind of energy to get things going and possibly make some changes in our lives that we've been resisting. We may feel a little bit more impulsive too. So we also have to be careful because Aries is known to be impulsive and impatient. So we have to learn to tap into our patience the beginning of March. It's a very important time for us to do that. And so the biggest thing is that Aries moon, the moon sign is something that really affects our emotions. If you don't believe in astrology, or you're interested in it and don't know a lot about it, you can always look up the moon, because the moon affects the tides of the ocean. So it affects our emotional nature. And so every 2 to 3 days, the moon changes signs in the sky. There's 12 zodiac signs, and it moves through really quickly. So, for 2 or 3 days, just happened last week, people at work were asking me, what's wrong? I'm feeling so intense and like things are tough. And what is going on in my chart? I'm like, it's not your chart, it's everyone. Because the moon was in Scorpio. Everybody felt intense and emotional. So Aries, that moon there is only going to be there about 3 days. And then the moon will move into Taurus the first week of the month as well. So we'll go from this passion, courage to change, into we want to be a little lazy and relaxed and eat and be comfortable and not do much. So each day when the moon changes signs, you'll feel how it impacts you, because the moon sign in astrology is your emotional nature. So, when you're thinking of making changes, this is a good time to tap into this energy, to take risk maybe that you really don't typically do.
Yeah, what comes to mind, Carmen, when you talk about this new moon energy and you talk about new beginnings, I think something that people don't expect or perhaps don't relate to is that with new beginnings often comes an opportunity to break patterns.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we do get into these patterns, and sometimes patterns can feel like ruts, and we can feel stuck. We can
Yes.
feel like we can't even get out of our own way. And we say to ourselves, universe, please help me. Please help me. What do I do? What do I do?
Yeah.
And I love that you share this information, blending psychology and astrology, and to show us that the mood that's in our favor right now of breaking patterns. And sometimes that pattern, I always say, is getting out of the pattern resistance. We
Yeah.
get into resistance, which is fear. We get afraid, and
Yeah.
then we experience the the consequences of fear, which is tension
Yeah.
and stress.
Yeah.
And so sometimes breaking a pattern from an emotional perspective is learning how to relax a little bit.
Yeah.
When you say,
Yeah.
Carmen?
Absolutely. I think that's the thing, in the world right now. There's a lot of change going on. A lot of changes on the news. We're seeing all these major revolutionary changes in our government and in the world. All these things have really started kicking off the past couple months here. And I think, it's a fresh energy, and that reminds me, of Aries energy, that we're dealing with right now this week, because Aries is all about fresh newness. Like it's Aries rules the spring, so it's a cardinal sign, and the cardinal signs rule, spring, summer, fall, and winter. So Aries is all about spring, when flowers bloom. Trees are all these new things are coming alive, and so it's a good time to really tap into that. And right now the sun is in Pisces, so we're still feeling, we feel a little bit emotional this month anyways, because the sun is in Pisces until the end of March. So right now we have this Pisces sun, Aries moon energy. So it's like these two poles of Pisces is a worrier, they want to, they're emotional, they're sensitive, they're empathic, they're spiritual, they're kind, they're very, they lack boundaries, they can feel everything going on around them. They're very sensitive people. And so we all are impacted by that Pisces energy in the world, because the sun is in Pisces in the sky. So we're all impacted this month. And then that Aries moon is going to be giving us the courage to kind of break out of those patterns. But I think you're right with fear. Whenever I've been afraid of changing something, which I'm going through right now in my own life, I'm like, what am I afraid of? And sometimes you don't know, like, it's just this feeling. And I'm like, yeah, it's
A
fear.
lot of people are afraid of loss.
Yeah. Loss. Yeah.
Right. They're afraid of loss, and in
Mhm.
return they attempt to try to control it. And
Yeah.
because change, it feels, something different. And again, breaking patterns can sometimes come with a change of routine.
Yeah.
You're in a new circle of people,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it can be scary for people. It's interesting that you brought up, Carmen, this idea of emotional people
Mhm.
getting emotional. Let's dive into that, because I think that sometimes we equate it with crying, and that certainly
Yeah.
is an aspect of crying. But can being an emotional also be taking things really hard? Because I think everybody shows that
Yeah.
differently. They don't realize, particularly men, I think, I
Yeah.
know it, I don't want to be labeling, but I am, that if you're raised a certain way, you have belief that emotions are weak, then
Yeah.
it's going to manifest that emotional. Tell me what you've experienced with that, because what I've experienced as an emotional detox coach is it looks different for some people, that it might be agitated or angry. And
Yeah.
we don't think that's emotional. We say, no, that's anger.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What are
Yeah.
your
I mean,
thoughts on that?
yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we all have a different emotional temperament, a different way that, and in astrology, I just say, everyone has a different moon sign. And that's the moon sign is how you express emotions. And it's where you feel vulnerable, where you try to protect yourself. It's where you feel comfort and happiness. So it's that vulnerable part. So our inner part is what we typically hide. And sometimes if we're, stressed or very, emotional, it can come out in a different way. It can come out as keeping busy. Some people try to keep, workaholic, just keep working, avoiding feeling, keeping busy. Some people it's exercise. Some people it's food. Some people, it's zoning out on Netflix, and, some people it's sleep. Some people can show their emotions easily. And in astrology, we look at the elements. Everybody has a birth chart, and there's 4 elements: fire, air, earth, and water. Water are the emotional feeling people. Everyone has all 4 elements in their birth chart, but I find that people that have more water tend to cry or really express themselves more easily than people that have a lot of fire, air, or earth. And so depending on what your, strongest element is in your chart, everyone has a primary element, that rules their chart. For me, I actually lack water, and I have a ton of earth, and I have a lot of fire. So I'm more vocal and communicative about how I feel. So that's like the air and fire signs. They like to talk. They like to tell you how they feel with words. Where the water signs, they're more body language, tears, want to hug you, hold your hand, pat your back. That's how they show emotion. So, but yeah, I think.
And then what about the earth signs?
The earth signs they like to do practical things to take care of people and show they care. And they're more about communication. They like to communicate and talk. And fire signs typically like to be doing something to distract themselves. They like to be, fire is Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo. They're known to be on the go, traveling, moving, and they don't sit still to feel. Sometimes they have trouble sitting still. And then the water signs are Scorpio, Cancer, and Pisces, and they're more like they're calm. You can feel their water, like they're sensitive. You can feel their emotions, and they're kind, and they'll cry if you cry. If you get tired, they get emotional. And then the air signs are more intellectual. They may be upset, but you don't see it physically, like you would with a person that says a lot of water energy, because they're very intellectual. They're thinking, and they're trying to analyze their emotions. They're trying to figure out what is this? Ooh, I don't like this. Logically, what's going on? They everyone has their way of understanding what they're feeling and dealing with it.
It makes a lot of sense. And the protecting piece particularly stands out to me because, when I think of emotions, so many people, they want to protect themselves from feeling if the thought of getting hurt, or the thought of something not working out, or the thought of leaving something that they're so used to. I know a lot of people that want to change, but they've been doing the same thing for a long time and they're good at it. Maybe they have a decent salary, and it's terrifying for them. And so that idea of, this is my protection, this is my shell. And if I take my shell off, I lose my security, kind of thing. But what I'm hearing you say is that this is the time of where we are going to be breaking patterns. You don't have to go big, folks. I think that's what I want to remind everyone today, Carmen, is, you don't have to quit your job. We're not advocating for that. You could take very small steps of changing patterns. And it might be just learning to take a little bit better care of yourself. And I want to talk more about that, Carmen. We got to circle into the break. If you're just joining us, we want to welcome you to Deep Dive with Carmen Turner Schott, and I'm Sherianna Boyle. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. Hang in.
Hi, this is Carmen Turner Schott, author and psychological astrologer. My newest books are Your Astrological Energy and Astrology's Magical Nodes of the Moon. Both offer powerful insights to help you understand your emotions and your spiritual journey through astrology. Discover how your birth chart can help you heal, transform, and become more resilient. Visit my website today at carmenturnerschott.com and grab your copies on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and online stores.
Looking to transform your life? Sherianna Boyle, author of 11 powerful books, invites you to take a deep dive. Explore her emotional detox series, discover manifesting with energy in action, and connect with spirit in her latest book, Just Ask Spirit. Start your journey today. Find all her books at sheriannaboyle.com.
Welcome back to Deep Dive. You're listening to Carmen Turner Schott and Sherianna Boyle. And we're taking a deep dive into this month's astrology. Carmen just gave us an update there. By the way, if you ever miss a show, you can catch us over on YouTube. You can find the replays there. Just go to Deep Dive with Carmen and Sherianna YouTube, and that way you can catch up if you ever miss a show. Okay, so now we're at the part of the show. It's talking about protection, taking off those shells. It's okay. You can take that shell down if you have tools, folks.
Yeah.
If we have tools in our toolbox, which we all do, we don't always use them. Yeah. It's a lot easier, right, Carmen? Like yes. I was talking to someone the other day and they were upset. They said, so-and-so needs to step it up and do more and this and that. And I said, when you say that, when you say they need to do more, that's very broad.
Yeah.
It's very broad. And here's the thing, maybe they don't know what to do. Maybe they don't have the skill set of how to handle the situation. You're assuming they have that. And the person was like, oh, yeah, maybe you're. I said, but if you just say, come on, you got to do more around here.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think skills are such a big part of, and communication.
Oh, yeah. And expectations,
And expectations, exactly.
Yeah, what you expect from somebody, they may not realize you're expecting that. So it's like being very clear and very assertive and straightforward about what you want or need from someone else, which is, number one is communication. I mean, the number one reason for divorce is lack of communication. And number two
is it really? Is it lack of? I thought it was.
And money.
Yeah, I knew money was up there. Okay.
Yeah. And that's why most marital, research, evidence-based marital workshops or classes are based on communicating, like basic prep, like your turn to talk. Now you repeat back what they said. Now hand the card over. I mean, we actually did that in marital counseling for people. I mean, it's like basic, it's listening to what they're saying, because we typically fast forward to what we hear them and we're ready to say our part, but
we're thinking about our part while they're, which is a defense. That's our shell.
Yes.
Us thinking about what we're going to say and how we're going to defend ourselves means we got the shell up.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're not truly communicating and listening and talking about, well, using I statements too, instead of like, you need to step up, and your marital counselor is supposed to always start with I feel hurt when you do this specific thing, or I feel that you don't value what I do around the house because you don't ever thank me. Getting into the love language, we could do a whole show about that too. But
we really do. And we probably will. And I agree with you wholeheartedly, because whenever you say what the person usually feels is, I'm not good enough. You're telling me I'm not good enough. I'm not doing a good enough job. You don't approve of me. You don't really like me.
Yeah. And then they get defensive and then they withdraw, or then they go into protection mode, and it can get more tense, and it takes time. Like, it's like, when you've been married a long, long time,
how long you been married, Carmen? How much?
25 years.
Yeah. I think I think I might have a year ahead of you. What year did you get married?
1999.
Yeah. See, I'm 1998. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. By the way, everyone, Carmen, I know you've written 11 astrology books, but she is also a licensed mental health counselor. So
in my normal life,
in her normal life, she does have a counselor. And my license is no longer active, but I was trained as a licensed school psychologist, and I'm an adjunct psychology professor and professor in mindfulness and blah, blah, blah. But we just want, it's a new show and you're just getting to know us, that we do really do this for work.
Yes.
We're not just playing it on the radio.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the things that we talk about, Sherianna and I, are things that we have experienced in our own lives. It's like, with life experience, just being married as long as we both have, I've learned a lot about myself and my strengths, my weaknesses. My husband as well, he's changed so much from when we first were married. You look back and think, whoa, and it was never easy. It took a lot of effort and work, and everybody has their ups and downs. There's no perfect relationship. And I think that's what I typically, help
Did you
people
have
with.
role models? Are your parents still married? Do you
Yeah.
feel you had a role model there to
Oh,
follow?
yeah.
'Cause a
I
lot of
think
people don't.
I think that helped. My mom and dad had me when they were really young, and they're still married. I think they just had their 50th anniversary.
Wow.
And they have been married 50 years. And then my grandparents, my mother's side, they were married I think 60 years until my grandmother passed. So yeah, so then my husband, his family, his parents divorced when he was 13. So he had issues coming in. We all bring our family stuff into our relationships. And that's why
Yeah.
the research shows if you can make the first marriage work, you do the best you can to do that, because the statistically it's harder, because the same issues are going to end up in your new
Yeah, you're
relationship.
just going to get a new dance partner, right?
It's just
Yeah.
going to keep, and
Do you,
and really
do
it
you
comes.
have any tools? I mean, what suggestion? We want to make sure we give the tools here
Oh yeah,
for
the tip.
people. I mean, for me, I think again, I'm going to stick with the breaking patterns theme.
Yeah, I like that.
And because that's our theme of it. It seems like that's our theme
Yeah,
with what's
breaking
going
patterns.
on,
Yeah.
breaking patterns. And the pattern could be just to listen, right? To
Yeah.
stop talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stop thinking about what you're going to think, how you're going
Yes.
to defend yourself. And believe me, I did
Yes.
that years in my marriage.
Yeah.
I was like, I could have won awards for it, but
Yeah.
really learning to listen could be a way to break a pattern. What's your tip?
Yeah, I think a good way to break a pattern too is, um, being able to look at yourself and be self-aware, like to take feedback.
Mm,
Because I don't know about you, but I mean, even at work and life, I mean, taking constructive feedback. I mean, I don't want to say negative feedback. Constructive is what we want to say, but any kind of feedback, it's not easy to take. And so you got to
um,
be able to not take it too personal, but to take it as, okay, they're telling me this because they love me and care about me, because they're my partner or they're my child or whatever, or my parent, and not get defensive. Well, but you did this, you. No, say, okay, wow. I didn't realize that you saw me that way, or that you thought I was doing that. And like, just don't put a wall up if someone's
yeah.
giving some feedback. And
I,
I've had,
I got some, I got some today. I got some constructive
oh,
feedback.
oh, you did.
Yeah, I did. And it was delivered so well. It
Oh,
was
good.
someone that I do workshops with here. Carmen and I don't live in the same time zone. So unfortunately we don't get to see each other. But yeah, it was very constructive and it was well received.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good.
And I love it when people ask, like, are you open to feedback? I think
Yeah.
that helps if you ask first rather than just give
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah. And I used to resist any kind of conflict. And and I used to be real shy and stuff. And lately I had some feedback too. Somebody gave me some constructive feedback, and I was worried. I'm like, okay, they're like, can I share something? I'm like, okay. I'm like, oh no, what I do? And they share with me, and I'm
Shell
like,
up, shell up.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, no. They're like when you say this, I think that you mean that I'm not doing things as good as the other person you used to work with. I'm like, oh no, I'm just using them as example. Like they used to do this for me, or they used to do that. Oh no, no. I said, no, not at all. I'm like, oh my gosh, no.
That's
So
childhood stuff. That's childhood.
yeah, that was like
That's what
communication.
that's childhood. I'm not saying you didn't deliver properly, but
Yeah, yeah,
it's a great example of when
yeah,
childhood stuff, like when siblings are compared and
yeah, yeah,
we grow up with that. And then all of a
yeah.
sudden it's interesting that shows up.
Yeah.
We are just about out of time. I mean, that just flew
Wow.
by.
It just flew.
Thank God we're every Sunday.
This is great every Sunday.
Every Sunday, folks. And if you miss it, you go to YouTube channel. That's where all the recordings are going to be. Deep Dive with Carmen and Sherianna. And by the way, we do have a live new moon circle, and we hope that you consider joining us there. It's go to sheriannaboyle.com, hit podcast. You'll see our new moon circle. We go live and we help people manifest. And I'm telling you, we're getting pretty damn good at it.
It's fun. Hey, we've been manifesting all kinds of stuff. I'm a little scared right now because there's so much stuff manifesting.
There's so much. Thanks so much for taking a deep dive with us, folks. Until next Sunday, take care.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for tuning into Deep Dive with Sherianna Boyle and Carmen Turner Schott. If today's episode inspired you, don't forget to share, subscribe, and leave us a review. For more insights and resources, visit carmenturnerschott.com and sheriannaboyle.com. Until next time, keep diving deep into your soul's journey.